Welcome back to the second volume of our Reddit Mysteries series. We dive into internet rabbit holes found on various subreddits, typically r/internet mysteries, and we've got a good share of topics to talk about here, from some pretty creepy but most likely pretty harmless internet stuff, to actual dead bodies and some really disturbing cases. But I'm sure you all know how this works by now, so let's just get into it. This is Mysteries and Rabbit Holes from Reddit, Volume 2. But real quick before we get into today's topics, allow me to thank today's sponsor, Proton VPN. Proton, among its many benefits, allows you to finally de-Google your life. What do I mean by this? Well, using Proton's user-founded ecosystem and tools such as its VPN, password manager, and mail, you can finally stop big tech from gathering all your data and putting it out to the web. They have a secure core system to make sure you are using their most secure servers when using the VPN online, as well as a net shield to block malware, ads, and trackers, and even a kill switch option if you don't want your IP leaked if you happen to lose connection to a server. There's also a port forwarding option to speed up gaming and certain downloads. Protect your connection and private data today by using Proton VPN by using my link in the description below, where you can get a special offer for 1 month for free if you sign up with the yearly plan, or 2 months free with the 2-year plan. It's easy to use, reliable, and one of the best VPNs out there, which even has a freemium version because Proton is founded by users and not some corporate boomers. Again, check out my link in the description for Proton VPN. Now back to the video. Ahenobarbus Henocied image. Ahenobarbus Henocied refers to this specific cursed image of a Japanese doll that is commonly associated with a Facebook user of the same name, who distributed disturbing material to people on Facebook in 2015, including gore and NSFW content. The account became popular in Spanish-speaking horror communities around the time due to the user mostly speaking Spanish in their cryptic messages and posts. However, even before this, the image was associated with the creepypasta Gurgles and Bugman, a lost episode story which was posted to the creepypasta wiki in June of 2014 with this image. I actually read this creepypasta as well as many others in a massive collection of lost episode creepypastas, which I posted not too long ago if you want to hear that full story. However, this isn't the origin of the image either. In fact, it dates all the way back to the Japanese site 2chan in a post on Christmas 2005, where a user posts a gif of the doll along with a chain letter reading, quote, "If you don't post this image on another image board within 1 hour, something terrible will happen at the end of the year. There are also people who died because they didn't send this picture." The image became even more popular over the years in Japan as part of the Make Me Cute meme, in which users would spread this image in Photoshop threads and other 2chan posts, asking to make this scary child look cute. But that still begged the question, what was the origin of this edited image? There were various chain letters inspired by it, as well as the Make Me Cute posts, but the original version was actually found, posted at some point in 2004 on 2chan. This is the original Japanese doll, and that's it, right? Case closed. Well, about a month ago on the r/internet mystery subreddit, user Flash Simulacra posts a second image showing the entirety of the doll, saying it was found as part of a Yahoo auction. I definitely gotta say it's much creepier with the body being fully visible in my opinion, but that might just be because of the low quality. Still a great find nonetheless. The Shining missing prop. Here we have a really interesting mystery from the Lost Media subreddit. A post titled, "Can you help me solve the mystery of one of the most iconic props in movie history? Where did the real photo at the end of The Shining come from?" I myself am definitely no expert on this film, although I am a fan, so I will read Vulcan Witch's post to describe the mystery. Also, spoilers ahead for The Shining. Quote, "If you're any kind of movie fan, you probably know the famous ending to Stanley Kubrick's 1980 classic The Shining. Jack Torrance is told that he's always been the caretaker of the Overlook Hotel by seeing himself at the forefront of an old black and white photo of a party that is labeled Overlook Hotel, July 4th Ball, 1921. This is one of cinema history's most famous moments, but the hero prop at its center was not made for the film, with the exception of Jack Nicholson being airbrushed into the photo. No one has yet figured out when and where the original photo was taken, and what real-life event it depicts, which is why I am bringing it to this community. Here's a summary of what is known so far. In 1980, Kubrick was interviewed by French film critic Michel Ciment and was asked about the photo specifically, asked if he assembled hundreds of extras for the shot. Kubrick replied, "No, they were in a photograph taken in 1921, which we found in a picture library. I originally planned to use extras, but it proved impossible to make them look as good as the people in the photograph." The 1921 date is not for sure though, see below. In 1985, a book called The Complete Airbrush and Photo Retouching Manual included a small portion of the original photo, showing the man who Jack Nicholson replaced. The caption on the page gives no information about the photo other than it dating to 1923, not 1921. This went largely unnoticed until a Shining-centric blog called attention to it in a 2012 post. The most recent breakthrough was a few days ago when Redditor Al89Nut identified the original man who Nicholson replaced as Santos Cassani, a quite well-known London-based dancer and more specifically instructor and author on the subject of ballroom dances like waltzes and tangos. This is potentially very useful information as Cassani's appearances at dance halls during the 1920s and later, giving lessons and demonstrations en masse, judging competitions, attempting to set records. He apparently tried to dance straight for 24 hours once, were often mentioned in newspapers and newsreels. Summary of the search so far. The author of the 1985 airbrush book was contacted. He did not know where the photo came from. The airbrush artist credited on the film is Joan Honor Smith. I'm not sure if she is alive, if she's been contacted, or if it is likely that she would know anything about the photo anyway. I'm guessing probably not. Edit. Since I made this post, I found references to a couple of interviews with Smith where she says she doesn't know where the photograph came from. The focus on Cassani and the large crowd consistent with the 1920s dance hall craze make it very likely the event was somehow dance related. Edit. However, the universally formal dress of the men, tuxedos, and the detail of the one man blowing a party noisemaker in the front left is making me question whether it was a simple dance. The noisemaker in particular might be a more important detail than I thought, since it's hard to imagine someone bringing that to a regular dance. Might this indicate a New Year's party? Cassani was based in London and is documented in newspapers of the time, traveling all over Britain and Ireland. Kubrick was also based in London, and the photo is said to have come from an archive there. This adds up to it seeming extremely likely the photo was taken somewhere in Britain or Ireland. In Britain and Ireland in the 1920s, as well as in the USA and elsewhere, there was a boom in popularity of social ballroom-style dancing, such that a huge number of purpose-built dance halls were constructed, often but not always with a variation on the name Palais des Danses. It is quite possible that the photo was taken in one of these venues. However, it is also possible that it could be in the ballroom of a hotel, the floor of a theater, or somewhere else. Over the past week, many people have been poring over every interior photo of these kinds of venues that can be found, with no luck yet finding a match. A few notes about the scene in the photo. As viewed in the photo, the venue has no visible freestanding columns or overhanging balconies, key details that differ from a great many of the dance hall photos of the time that can be found. The most unique architectural element, for me anyway, is the distinctive, possibly diamond-shaped tiling in a few spots on the walls. To me, this is the detail that would be a potential smoking gun. The photo was clearly taken from a higher elevation, probably a stage. As several observers have pointed out, several of the women in the scene appear to be wearing heart-shaped brooches. Whether this indicates a Valentine's Day event or something else is unknown. Edit. There is also a tradition in Scotland of Luckenbooth brooches, which are traditionally heart-shaped with a crown on top. Not sure if that's related either, but worth thinking about. As is clearer from one of the pictures of the original prop, there appears to have been something handwritten in the top left corner of the original photo, but most of it was cut off for the film version. That's all I've got for now. Please help find this mysterious missing piece of Hollywood history. Weird Captcha Part 2. If you watched Part 1, we had a similar creepy looking Captcha, and again we've got yet another one. Not too much to delve into here, just a strange thing to find, I guess. This one again comes from a post on the Internet Mysteries subreddit, where a user tried logging into Discord inside of an internet cafe in Moscow, only to be greeted with this creepy Captcha, as well as Russian text which roughly translates to, "Please select an object that drinks water in order to live." I guess AI and bots are just getting way too smart nowadays, and drastic measures have to be taken just to keep them out. Creepy Spotify sounds. Has anyone else been hearing strange, out-of-place sounds while listening to Spotify? Quote, I listen to Spotify most of the day, podcasts and music. Today I had a really strange experience. While listening to a playlist I've heard 100 times full of songs I know by heart, I heard what sounded like giggling or laughing between the tracks. I assumed that maybe I'd just missed that detail in the song before, because really what else could it be? Later I was listening to a podcast episode. It's a comedy show that can be a little crude at times, so when I heard a loud belch in the middle of the show, I assumed they were just joking around, but nobody on the show mentioned the belch, and it sounded like it was of much higher quality than the show, like it had been added in. The final straw came earlier tonight. I was listening to an instrumental hip-hop playlist, again songs I've heard hundreds of times. The second track closed with the exact same cartoonish belch I'd heard during the podcast, and I know for a fact there is no belch on that track. Has anyone else heard anything like this today or any other day? Am I just going insane? With no way to record it, I've got no hard proof that this happened. But it was so strange, I can't imagine my brain just invented it. Thoughts? A user further inquired about maybe possibly an ad running in the background on a different app or something which may have made the sound, but the OP denied this, saying that they didn't have any other apps open at the time and no games on their phone. Another user references a similar situation known as the Goblin incident, which was allegedly a strange Spotify glitch that would play a sound clip seemingly at random of someone saying, "The goblins were awakened," which comes from the song Run the Jewels by Run the Jewels.
The goblins were awakened.
Other than that, the OP denied having any history of mental illness, besides ADHD, which they are medicated for, and they claim to have never experienced auditory hallucinations before. Overall, just a very strange story with not a lot of answers. SCP-106 victim is a corpse. Remember that whole thing with the Half-Life 2 burnt corpse model being revealed as actually a real human face taken from a burn victim in a medical textbook? Well, I guess we have a similar situation here. Makes you wonder if this disturbing practice has been done more times than we think in games and other pieces of media. This one comes from this image of the SCP known as 106. The image of the entity itself is pretty creepy and almost reminds you of the Corpse-01 model from Half-Life 2, but this isn't actually the one based on a real body. SCP, for anyone that somehow isn't familiar, is a fictitious organization written collectively by multiple users, much like the Backrooms, essentially an earlier version of that, with many people coming up with lore for the Foundation, as well as the various creatures and objects held within its facilities, known as SCPs, each designated by a unique number and an object class. 106 is of subject class Keter, said to be the most dangerous kind of anomaly. The SCP Wiki describes it as having the appearance of an elderly humanoid that appears to be decomposing. The SCP itself is, however, said to be extremely dangerous and will attack and incapacitate their victims before pulling them into their quote-unquote pocket dimension. Now, circling back to the image, well, I'm sure you know where this is going. This is the actual image in question, which in universe is supposed to be of an agent that was a victim of the SCP. About a month ago though, in a post on the Internet Mysteries subreddit, a user announced the origin of this image being found. The source? A decomposing corpse found in a German forensic textbook, which I obviously can't show here. The user also links a video by this Japanese YouTuber who I believe was the first to break the case on this, so shout out to them. Definitely a very unnerving discovery. Weird picture on shopping program. Here we have yet another post on Internet Mysteries, a bit of an older one, but still interesting nonetheless. The user provides an image of a TV which has a strange picture that appeared during a certain shopping program on their boyfriend's grandma's TV, of what they describe as looking like a guy standing next to a cave and an alien that only appeared for half a second before being replaced by a chain Cuban necklace that was being sold. Definitely strange when you put it into words like that, I guess. An image with a little better quality was provided in the comments, and it shows the guy in the back isn't an alien or anything like that. He was just wearing a face covering. As many people have suggested, it appears to be some sort of old news footage, possibly in a Middle Eastern country. And the image most likely appeared by mistake on part of the news station, but as of now we have no definitive answers, so let me know what you think. Black Dog Ultra. Here we have a pretty mysterious YouTube channel known as Black Dog Ultra that was brought up in another Reddit post. Going to the channel itself, it immediately screams ARG. The seemingly randomly titled videos with Russian text and numbers, creepy and bizarre thumbnails, all the boxes are checked. However, this channel isn't as well known, with less than 5,000 views total and only 121 subscribers as of writing this script. The first video was posted in November 2021, and its Russian title translates to Gallery 36. Its description contains seemingly random numbers and letters, which are likely some sort of coded message, you know, the usual stuff. Running a simple hexadecimal decoder, we get the message, drop intercepted 3 compromise. At least when it comes to the numbers in the description. I'm not exactly sure how to make sense of the other characters. The video itself, well, not really too much to see here. The second video, titled 6, is more of the same, just what seems to be Russian architecture with some mildly creepy music in the background. Once again, the description has a message for us to decode. The Russian text reads, less than a year old, and the hex code actually hides a YouTube link. Following it takes you to an unlisted upload showing a door number 185 with a title that may be Bulgarian for cards, although I'm not really sure about that, I'm just using Google Translate here. We get another 3-second shot of a building with what looks to be Russian text in the next upload titled Tenep, or now in English. This time the decoded text gives coordinates, which leads us to the Independence Monument in Kiev, Ukraine. The next video is titled Preparation, and we don't really get much more info from this, and the next few videos are more of the same. This one though definitely reminds me of the Pripyat Ferris wheel near Chernobyl. It's not until this one titled Here that we get another code. Again, we receive additional coordinates that this time take us near the Moskva River in Moscow, Russia. Again, I'm not exactly sure of the significance of this area. From here, there are a lot more videos and more coded messages leading to these coordinates in Turkey, although Google says the exact location could not be determined. And another message leads us to this NATO article on a Lieutenant General Lance Landrum, who served as the 23rd Deputy Chair of the NATO Military Committee from 2021 to 2023. Things only get more complicated from here, as Morse code seems to get involved, with uploads standby and commence. More videos, more coded messages, you get the idea by now. I'm not going to go through all of it, but the latest video was posted 3 months ago, which is hex decoded to Isaiah 17:1, a Bible verse. So, what does this all mean? Well, I'm not really sure. Another commenter suggested this could be connected to another rabbit hole known as Pelzer SC and the cult of Spider-Man. This mystery concerns another creepy ARG, covered by Nexpo in a video titled 4chaner Unearths a Mystery if you want a deep dive into that. But for now, this is really all we have. Make of it what you will. Random SD card. You guessed it, another post on r/internet mysteries titled, "A weird old SD card literally appeared on my porch. Really mysterious. Need help." Admittedly, this prompt sounds very suspicious, but let's keep reading. Quote, "Listen, I know this sounds fake, or like the start of a lazy ARG, but this is 10,000% real. So this afternoon around 5 p.m, my mother went out to the car and came inside to show me there was a weird SD card sitting on our porch. She hasn't used any in years and asked me if it was mine. I haven't used one in even longer. Some context, our porch is extremely tidy. My mother and I were both gone all day and went in and out at regular intervals. Like I said, this sounds fake, so I was kind of shocked. I told my mom, just in case, to give it to me to investigate. So here's the lowdown. It's obviously well used. The back plate of it has a crack and there is tape wrapped closely around the bottom. It's either to preserve the writing, hold the crack, or maybe both. Something I found interesting was the tape had some glitter inside it. It's not something you'd find in our household. As for the writing, it's insanely hard to make out. It looks like have, maybe? It definitely ends in an E, so my camera isn't very high quality. It's a phone camera. Ask for any more pictures or info and I'll do my best. As for its contents, of course I'd be nervous to plug the SD card into a device and have it be compromised. That being said, I don't have an SD card reader and neither does my laptop. Any ideas how I can safely get in to see its contents? I can't stress how weird this is or how freaked out I am. The user then provided images of the 4GB SD card in question. Some people were skeptical, others were very concerned about what could be on the SD card, potentially illegal material in the worst case scenario, or some sort of virus that could take over their devices. Most recommended either not to look into it at all or to take extra precautions by using a burner laptop that is offline. Eventually though, the OP did clear up the whole mystery in a comment on this post writing, quote, "Okay guys, drumroll. So the mystery has been solved. It's nothing creepy or paranormal or vengeful as many would hope, but it is kind of sweet. So my mother ran a charity in Uganda years ago. At one point we had some of the Subi girls and their counselor come stay in Canada to do performances, and my dear mother fell in love with their counselor. Over the course of a few months, he took hundreds of photos documenting her humanitarian work, church work, and charity work in Ontario and Uganda alike. This was in 2012. When he was leaving, his bag was full of all sorts of dirty bits, and my mother shook it out over the mulch by the front porch. Little did she know this sucker fell out, and there it must have stayed until I posted this. One thing that didn't seem important is that my new dog likes to dig around the mulch while I have cigarettes. We ultimately think she must have tossed it up with a mouthful of mulch, as she had been at it that day. But the silver lining in this boring end, we gave my mother back memories and images she never thought she would see again. Her Ugandan love called her yesterday, and when she brought it up, we put it all together. She feels as if it is God reaching out to her. I don't know about that, but to see her with tears over these pictures means a lot. So I have to say, to everyone, every effort put in, thank you. Truth Sticks 11. This is easily the most disturbing rabbit hole I've come across so far in my research into these bizarre Reddit cases. There have been a ton of posts about this rabbit hole on the Internet Mysteries subreddit for good reason. In fact, this mystery has gotten so big there's even a subreddit dedicated to it called r/smartschoolboy9, named after one of the accounts in question. What the fuck is this? From what I and many others looking into this guy and his various accounts have found is that it appears we have this person who is posing as children through various Instagram pages while also posting very disturbing content, including real photos of children, while at the same time calling out other people as being fake children and predators, while he himself is one of the most flagrant and obvious offenders I've ever seen on a social media site. It is truly bizarre. Couple that with the frequent posts covering sex trafficking statistics and calling other people while also posting creepy edited AI images of children, and yeah, you have one of the most disturbed individuals I've ever come across, and some of the creepiest accounts on Instagram. However, it appears the person responsible knows that many people are looking into his history online and has started deleting many of his online accounts such as TruthSticks11 and SmartSchoolboy9, which the subreddit is named after. Luckily, some people have managed to archive some of the posts, and they are some of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
So, that's the account run by a man pretending to be a boy. School. Hi guys, I'm here at school. Hello? Hi.
A lot of people on the Reddit posts compared this to another case known as Pipergate covered by Nick Crowley. That was a similar situation in which a man ran various suspicious YouTube channels that showed strange edited footage of young girls while claiming to be an 11-year-old girl themselves named Piper. Although the identity of the man was actually found as William Whitaker, a convicted sex offender, and all around is just an extremely disturbing case. Looking at the TruthSticks Instagram page, we only have some screenshots and footage, as I said earlier, because the pages were taken down, but the bio reads, quote, "Beautiful boy and account looked after by me, a degree-educated mother choosing to stay anonymous. Good, original written work, advice and compassion." Then there's also the Smart Schoolboy page, which reads, quote, "Primary school achiever, mixed race and mastering millions of subjects, eventually. Account monitored by mum." Another user posts a theory on Internet Mysteries about Smart Schoolboy, writing the following, quote, "This is the guy behind the account, it seems. In truth_sticks_11, where he pretends to be the child's mom, in the first post of that account he talks. In that post, he exposes an account for pretending to be a boy that is actually a man to groom kids. He seems to post that for ammunition against any allegations of people saying he's pretending to be people. Anyways, knowing now how he sounds from that account, if you go to this account, the one in the picture, Smart Schoolboy 9, if you scroll through his posts, you hear the same voice of him. I also believe the supposed child is actually him dressing up as one. It's a bit obvious it's a grown man, as he's a bit tall for a 9-year-old when comparing him to the doors in some of the posts. He's also balding, which is not normal for a 9-year-old. I don't think this is trafficking or anything, but simply a man who is mentally ill. Most likely he had a traumatic childhood, and he desperately wants to relive it with a good experience. Sadly, I also suspect he's a pedophile, as some posts from the accounts he runs have sexual undertones. I hope the kids he's pretending to be in his other accounts can't be reached by him IRL or online because of this. Definitely needs to be looked into and reported to officials for that exact reason. Yeah, so at this point I think it's pretty safe to say these accounts are all run by the same disturbed individual, by someone who appears to be severely mentally ill with a very strange fetish, and is likely also a pedophile given all the weird edited images of children found throughout these Instagram pages. Some in the comments have even said that they've seen the account owner actually interacting with real children in the comments, which is extremely disturbing, and I'm glad that these pages have been taken down, although that unfortunately means some evidence is also lost along with them. Still, this is one of those times I think I can confidently say that this is not an ARG. It is just too weird and depraved for that. This is simply the work of a very creepy and disturbed individual. It seems like they actually get off on pretending to be a child while also accusing others of being, as we can clearly see in some of the archived posts, where they nonstop call out other people as being fake kids, while also posting about disturbing modern slavery and human trafficking statistics. If anybody has any additional information into these bizarre accounts, feel free to leave them down below. I'm sure this rabbit hole goes even deeper, especially since a lot of the actual posts of these accounts were lost.